Okay guys, so let's talk a little bit about an Irish passport and why I generally have chosen to take this route. So I'm just going to talk about some of the ins and outs of the process, just to give a bit of context first. So first things first, like the reason why I want an Irish passport is because during Brexit, there was negotiations that were made and whatnot, and one of those was that essentially like British people would now no longer be able to move freely in sort of like, the EU states, as it were, and I believe that it's the same on the other side, so like EU citizens can't just move freely here in the UK anymore. There's certain circumstances where it's okay, but generally speaking, it gets quite deep. And one of the things that I've found, like with the whole moving to Portugal thing, weighed up loads of different options. Generally speaking, one of the big factors without an Irish passport, without EU citizenship, without a D7 visa for residency, we've got to leave the country every 3 months. So we can only do 90 days in any 180-day period in Portugal. So we've got different options really, and we've been weighing up different options, but the best option, as sort of like a sideline option alongside residency routes and whatnot, is to get an Irish passport. I think that a good way to explain the Irish passport situation is with the how, why, where, when, who, what. Let's talk about who can apply for an Irish passport. So if you live in Ireland and you are sort of naturalised as a citizen, that is one of the ways that you can get an Irish passport through Irish citizenship. Now, obviously, that's not the goal, because that would take a while. I believe it takes up to 5 years, actually. And, Portugal's sunny, Ireland, not so sunny. One of the other options, which is kind of like an ancestral sort of route, is to basically anyone that's got a parent or a grandparent that was born in the Republic of Ireland, and they can prove that with, a birth certificate and then potentially a death certificate if need be, you can then apply for Irish citizenship. So that's the exact route that I'm taking. So my parents are both born in the UK here. My grandfather on my father's side was born in Dublin, and my grandmother on my mother's side was also born in Dublin. So that's the sort of loophole that I'm using to get that citizenship and to represent almost and get back in touch with my ancestral roots and get that citizenship for the Republic of Ireland. When can you do this? You can sort of do this at any point. I would say it's better to do it sooner rather than later. So more recently I've found out, since the introduction video, I've found out that there's actually a 2-year waiting time. From up to 2 years, I should say, waiting time from the moment that you put the application in all the way through to sort of like when you'll get your citizenship granted, and then you've got to apply for your passport thereafter. So yeah, the sooner the better. If you're eligible, guys, and you're interested in this route, then definitely the sooner the better. So you might be asking why. So the reason why is because essentially the Republic of Ireland is still in the EU. It's also a beautiful country, respectively, and one day I might want like a holiday home, or who knows, I might want to do some kind of work over in the Republic of Ireland for whatever reason that is. So having citizenship for the Republic of Ireland, as well as dual nationality for Great Britain or the United Kingdom, essentially the Republic of Ireland is still in the EU, which means that it's going to be much easier to live and work and travel freely across other EU countries. So that means that instead of having to spend 3 months in Portugal, 3 months in the UK, I could essentially just be staying, in Portugal long term. Now, there is a catch here, obviously. Beth does not have any sort of Irish descendancy. So essentially she can't apply directly for citizenship and for a passport. Okay guys, so there is a cost involved with the Irish passport. So first we've got to look at the foreign births register, and to apply for that it's going to cost €278. And that's just for citizenship, okay? What I'm going to have to do also is there's going to be other costs on top of that, because I've got to pay for, you know, tracked delivery, because I've got to send birth certificates and death certificates across. Probably just for one grandparent. I'll probably be choosing my dad's dad, because we've got the same surname, whereas my mum's mum will have a completely different surname, and it could confuse things a little bit. So yeah, that's generally one of the downsides, is the cost is a little bit more expensive than I would imagine it would have been. But you know what? The benefits of that are going to be so much higher to have than to not. So yeah, I'm definitely happy to pay that for what you get in return. On top of that, there is then a passport fee. It's similar to what the UK costs. So that would bring the total amount to... So the total amount for Irish citizenship with the foreign births register application and the passport thereafter is €368, okay? So yeah, we've got to look at track delivery. I've got to actually order my grandfather's death certificate, and that costs roughly £13, I believe, to get that sent. So there are fees on top of that fee, but it's definitely worth it. There's pros and cons to it. Pros are, you know, freedom to travel, to live and to work in any EU country, massive bonus. Dual nationality, it's nice to be able to get back in touch with my ancestral roots, and potentially, you know, maybe at some point we'll explore Ireland, like years down the line, as an option for a holiday home or something like that, who knows. Yeah, cons, price, €368. I think it's a lot, and I think that, you know, the Irish government are smart, because they could probably see that the whole Brexit thing was going to cause issues, and maybe that sort of led to, you know, an inflation of the price somewhat. You know, hats off to them, they're making money off of the situation. Like, it, you know, it negatively affects people like me who want the passport in some respects, because it is like a sum to pay. But at the same time, it's not actually that much when you consider what you get in return. So, you know, I'll take that con with a pinch of salt, because it's not really a massive drawback. One big drawback though is the waiting time. So 2 years to wait is a considerable amount of time. In the introduction video, we kind of were so excited about like the Irish passport, like, yeah, I definitely need to get this Irish passport, it's going to be this, it's going to be that. Since then, more recently, I've found out about the 2 year waiting time, and I've had to sort of evolve the plan, and the plan is constantly changing. So yeah, this is the one thing that I will say, guys, is that the plan is always slightly evolving and slightly changing with new information, new criteria. It's always constantly changing. There's only so much information that we can take in at any given point, so we base our plans accordingly to what the best option is at the time, given our knowledge. And you know, we initially thought, yeah, the Irish passport's a great option, and then we looked into the marriage thing and the criteria behind that, and we realised, you know, yeah, that could be good as well, that could be a lot better. And then we obviously realised more recently that there's a 2 year waiting time. So yeah, the plan is, moving forward, is probably going to be to get, like I say, D7 residency visa as quickly as possible, and to apply for the Irish passport and citizenship. That's it really, guys. There's not much more that I can say about it really. I probably will potentially do a video where I'll show the process. Not too sure yet, but yeah, it's really not too bad of an idea. I'm just waiting to be able to have the money to be able to do that. And yeah, and this is one thing that I like about the way we're presenting our videos. Like, I wish that more people were like us in that respect, because there's not a lot of people that are completely upfront, I've found, because, and we know this because we're finding out a lot more now about all the different things that come with moving to Portugal. So yeah, we want to be as transparent as possible. We want to give you the option to not have to do as much research, because it's difficult, guys. It's difficult to muster up all of the correct information and do it in the correct do everything in the correct order and have as much insight as possible, because we're just constantly learning new things. It could be that next week or next month, or by the time we get to Portugal, we find out something completely different and would have wished, or that we would have done it that way, or that we just change our direction and do it in that way. I hope you like that, guys. Please do drop some comments down below if you've got some more information that maybe I've missed. This is just a bit of an introduction, really, though. It's not an in-depth how-to, really, necessarily, but there is other resources, as I say, that you can check out, and it's just more of a me giving you my opinion on it and my take on it, really, as a person who's looking at moving abroad. Thanks, guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for staying awake for this video, because these sorts of topics can be a little bit boring for some people, I suppose, but they're very interesting in the sense that they'll give you the information that you need to be able to apply